Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Dozy Place on Government Street here in Mid-City. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott and Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. Andy Isco with us at the bottom of the hour. We do first class, second class, no class on Tuesdays. Baseball playoffs start today. Monday Night Football last night. LSU on an off week. The Saints Monday Night Football next week against the Chiefs. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You know, we don't have a ton of these Monday Night Football doubleheaders. I mean, this is kind of a new thing outside of opening night last few years. I like them. I hope they become a permanent thing. But can't think of a bigger discrepancy than last night in the quarterback play from Game 1 to Game 2. In the Titans-Dolphins game, the quarterback play couldn't have been much worse. And in the Lions-Seahawks game, couldn't have been much better. The Tennessee and Miami quarterbacks, all three of them, combined for 180 yards of total offense, of passing offense. Did not throw a touchdown pass and threw one interception. In the other game, Jared Goff has the most attempts with a perfect completion percentage in NFL history. Geno Smith throws for nearly 400 yards despite the fact that Aiden Hutchinson spent his night in the backfield with him. And even Amon-Ra St. Brown threw what was really a perfect pass on the throwback to Goff down by the goal line. I mean, he put that thing right on the nose. I'm like, man, even the receivers in Detroit are throwing better passes than they're throwing down in Miami tonight. So it wasn't a hard choice to figure out what game to follow last night as far as the entertainment value. It was up in Detroit.
More to it than that, though. Jared Goff this is their fourth game?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This was his best game, and check out the amount of attempts in this game compared to the others.
Far fewer. Well, I say far fewer.
It's fewer.
Well, it's definitely fewer. It was far fewer than the game that they lost to the Rams, to the Bucks, where he threw it 55 times, and fewer than the game that they won against the Rams, which was the first night game of the season. It was slightly fewer than what he threw last week against Arizona when he had 18 completions.
They started to get back to
games.
what they were last week, and if you remember, they dialed it back and. Like look at all the Tony Romo's years at Dallas. I always remember that 1 year. I think maybe Elliott was a rookie, might have been, but his best year was his least amount of attempts, and so it
was the kid from Oklahoma because Elliott's first year was Prescott's first year.
Murray,
DeMarco Murray, the year he won the rushing title.
When that's when they lost to Green Bay?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
on the Oklahoma State, Des Bryant.
Yeah, 14 or 15, something like that.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
But we got to rotate the. Look, they got a nice combination of backs. I mean, those two guys can run, and they got a really good offensive line. So let's not overextend our guy. How many attempts?
18.
How many straight dropbacks?
Without play action, not that many.
5.
Yeah.
I mean, you really you sort of keeping him in his lane.
And still they pushed the ball down the field a little bit, and I know it gets skewed a little bit because of Jameson Williams' long run, but he had 16 yards in attempt last night.
No. But Charlie, that's all your efficiency when you're. This is by design. And this is, this offense score. But they were like, Goff's not this guy, this 35, 40 attempt guy. He's not that guy. There are some guys in the league that are like that. But he's not that guy. He's more comfortable and use it. Man, so look at his production, his yards per attempt, like you said, which is the most important thing. 16 yards. Bro, you're going to see more of this. You're going to see more of them run first, play action, 75% of his attempts, and do it. And, yeah, okay, we're third and long. Play action's not fooling anybody. Yeah, he's got to drop back, okay? But, Charlie, they didn't even have any third downs.
Very, very few. I mean,
how many third downs did they have last night?
Let's see. It was 6. They made half of them.
I mean, that's pretty low, huh?
No, their
yards
yards per play was almost 8 yards per play.
So Paul, and now listen, Seattle's got 4 or 5 starters on defense.
Yeah.
Okay, Seattle is schedule related. There was a pretty favorable schedule. Bo Nix on the road in his first NFL start. I mean, New England.
Yeah.
And then
the Dolphins without a quarterback.
Oh my gosh, they're the worst.
Yeah.
But so that's where no, we're not throwing it 50 times. That's not that decreases. It's just not what we do. It's not the strength of our team. And look, they didn't play great defense. I mean, once Geno got going,
outside of Hutchinson, no, they didn't.
So you look at a box score. Man, Seattle had 38 first downs. Does anybody have 38 first downs in a game this year?
That's a massive amount. I watched the whole game, and I was shocked when I saw that number at the end.
Me too. So, but you look at the box, it could be a little bit misleading. Okay, Seattle, your line. Did you ever give them a chance to win?
No. I never thought they were going to win. They had an outside chance. They were within one score a couple times. They never within one score with the ball.
I'm just going to bring this. I know it's a different level, but this is kind of what, not to this degree of scoring, but what Arkansas-Auburn was. Auburn, in the final box, they had more yards. They did this. They were behind the whole time. They were in chase-up mode. They were forced to throw the ball. Seattle was forced to throw the ball more last night. They were behind the whole time. Rarely does kneecaps take the ball. They want to toss it, would give us a ball. They were kind of getting themselves right to the point where he didn't even give Jared Goff the game ball last night.
Yeah, he forgot.
Well, but he reduced him, and man, so it's all about does this guy not get carried away a little bit sometimes?
He got carried away in the game that they lost, and they threw it 55 times. And I don't know any coach, if they throw it over 50 times, even Sean Payton, he used to, whenever they would throw Breeze, 50-something times a game, he goes, man, we got away from the run a little bit too early. No coach wants to throw it 50 times. It's not a recipe for winning.
And I really believe when we go back to that San Francisco game, he thought he had to steal a possession or two at some time. So he's so geared up that way. But he just didn't adjust to what was going on. They were the better team in that NFC Championship game. And I didn't think so. They didn't. But, no, you don't have to now. No. You just play straight up. And had he managed that game differently, I think there would have been a different outcome. I mean, and we don't.
Sure.
Okay, but he thought so. Like Virginia Tech when they played Florida State in the national championship game at a dome. Well, man, I was at the game, and once I saw Michael Vick, they had angles on him with all that team speed that Florida State had, but he thought he had to steal something. So he's faking, field goals. Is he going for the fourth downs? And he put himself behind when, no, he plays straight up. He could beat Florida State. Nobody could touch Vick in that game. He was too much for them. But, it just – and that's what I saw. So now they're dialed back. So – even in fantasy and stuff like that, expect Goff's attempts to go down.
Well,
don't you think?
If as long as they can run the football like that,
Charlie, they're really good at running the football.
I like both of those backs. Montgomery is very underrated. He's an excellent back. They've got a very good offensive line. Yeah, you've got a really good tight end, and they brought this up on the broadcast last night. Jameson Williams gives them that deep threat. St. Brown is one of the best receivers in the league, but
great.
He doesn't. He's not the fastest guy on the field. Williamson is, and that's a wonderful compliment to have, especially when you got Laporta, who's a very sure-handed guy. You've got two good backs. There's some pieces defensively. For instance, last night, Terrion Arnold was their first pick, the corner out of Alabama. And Geno picked on him all night. It was and got
rookie cornerbacks is a tough living.
It's
tough.
It's the thing he should have done. Geno played, I thought, really well. Hutchinson had 10 pressures last night, which is tops in the league this year, and Geno was still very efficient. He threw for almost 400 yards last night. But they picked on Arnold when they needed to. They got 3 pass interference penalties, reminding me of the Ole Miss game on Saturday where they have 3 defensive penalties. They got Arnold 3 different times, and they were able to move it. Mm-hmm. They also had, and this is what I would be most concerned with if I was Detroit, because I think they're the best team in the NFC right now. Arnold will get better. He's a rookie cornerback playing his 4th thing. I was more concerned that they got gashed with the running game as much as they did. Kenny Walker's a terrific back, coming back off the injury. He had some really, really big runs last night, and they end up running for 7 yards a carry. If I'm Detroit, that's the one thing I'm worried about. My rookie corners give up some plays, they'll get better. I can't give up 7 yards a carry and win the NFC. But right now, I think they're the best team in the conference. Right this second.
You're right. You're high on them. I mean,
you just said it. They might have had the better team in the championship game last year, and that was when San Francisco was whole.
They were better that day, Charlie. Okay.
That was when San Francisco was whole. Right now I'm looking at a 49er team that is not going to have McCaffrey for at least another month, that Samuel has been in and out, Kittle has been in and out. I mean, if San Francisco's whole, we got a horse race, but if San Francisco's as diminished as they have been, no, I think Detroit is better for sure. That's like I said, now.
They may have found their recipe. They're certainly going to stick with it. They're not going to change. They're not going to unless they fall behind, double digits, or when they start in the second quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to run first. And is there a better offensive line 2-back tandem in the league? If not, they're near the top. If not the top.
Yeah.
And Goff is better when they just can play action and let him do his thing. They got weapons. I mean, that St. Brown's so damn good, man. He's so tough. He catches the ball in traffic. He gets the hell up the field. He gives you everything he can, man. He's so tough.
He reminds me, except I think he's better. He reminds me so much of Hines Ward, except for the toughness standpoint. Except I think he's got better hands.
He's got a little bit better. I think he's got
a little bit better speed.
Hines Ward was still learning a different position
because he had played quarterback and other things in college.
Hines Ward had a little punch to him, too. He had knocked the crap out of people.
St. Brown mad. He played mad, and this kid plays mad. He's still pissed off that he went as late in the draft as he did. He played with a chip on his shoulder.
I know I've repeated myself in the past, but Hines Ward, you give me a wide receiver with all their diva tendencies, and this guy is voted the dirtiest in the league? Oh, really? You whining because he hit you?
Yeah, he might actually block you.
Yeah, he going to come find you and hit you? Oh, really? Yeah, give me that guy on my team.
St. Brown's got a little of that attitude. He may not be quite as physical.
He can't deliver that punch, but he is not going down with a fingertip. A lot of receivers do. I mean, he gets up no dancing. Man, he is getting up that field, man.
And he got the contract too. When he was a rookie,
has he gotten comfortable with it?
No,
hell no.
No, when he got drafted, he was so far down that man, I know all these guys that went ahead of me. None of them are better than me, and so his money is not as much as it would have been. Now he gets the contract. He's still playing like that.
But Charlie, you were wondering about Williams. Williams is fine.
I did worry about the injury, yeah. But now
did you see him?
No, he's fine now.
No, he's fine.
Right now.
He's fine.
He's the fastest guy.
I mean, how good is he going to be? We don't know, but he's fine. He is what they drafted. Okay, he's running away from people.
Yep.
And he's catching the ball. I mean, can he? He's still got it. He's missed a little time, so it hurt his development a little bit. But he's just fine. I don't know if just a given that they're the best team. I mean, they're in the mix, but I mean. You just
right now
you just discount. You're waiting for Darnold to fall out of a tree. Okay.
I think they're a little bit better. I would take them against Minnesota right now.
I tell you that team in the number one media market, that's a hell of a farm system. The New York
Giants.
Jets. No, the Jets.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a farm system. Darnold is a product of that farm system.
Yeah.
I mean,
Geno is.
Geno is. And how about the comeback player of the year last year? He's a product of that farm system too.
Yeah, sure.
Joe Flacco.
Does
do they all look better elsewhere? So that's a hell of a farm system that Greenberg's always, chirping about.
Pittsburgh would have covered on Sunday if it wouldn't have been for that meddling Joe Flacco. If they'd have left Anthony Richardson in the game, Pittsburgh would have won.
Guess what? What did Saban say? Even at the pro level. We all know who are our better quarter. That's how bad Cleveland is. Cleveland, and listen, to the Dolphins, okay? Oh, man, Flores, he was mean. He was mean. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, Fangio. Why y'all letting Vic Fangio go? He can get a job in a second as defense coach. Oh, he was too rough on us. Oh, well, guess what? The little gamer on the sidelines, that's 115 pounds. I mean, how's he doing with no discipline? How's he doing with no blocking, with no toughness? How are they doing?
I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack because he's
really?
a quarterback right now.
Oh.
When he had a quarterback, they were decent. I mean, he's trying to play with guys out of the arena league. Jimmy.
He's got a ton of playoff wins. Absolutely. Who am I to question him? A ton of playoff victories.
How many? If Bill Belichick went out there right now, couldn't win with Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson.
They would block. They would have a little bit more toughnness.
Okay.
Hell yeah. They would block and tackle a little bit more. They'd be a little bit more disciplined.
I'm not going to argue that, but with those quarterbacks, it's an impossible. If Miami wants to win and they're not on the phone,
I've seen Tyler Huntley look pretty good. Why is he
Baltimore? Yeah.
Okay. Well, why does he not?
Because Baltimore has all of the pieces.
Oh, really? There's no pieces at Miami. No, you got pieces on the outside. You have no lineman now. Where was your lineman? You ran Tunsil off. Okay, you brought in.
That's why they fired.
You brought in that You brought in that Band-Aid Armstead, right? You got a flag football team. They have no Jeffrey Simmons, and those guys look like Reggie White last night.
I'm not gonna tell you that they don't have problems up front. They do.
Oh, really? Thanks.
If
appreciate you agreeing with that.
Well, can you agree with me that they don't have quarterbacks?
Hundley, I've seen Hundley. He's been fine. I've seen Hundley. Have you not? But when you got no blocking, good luck.
Well, yeah, anybody without blocking is going to struggle.
Why can't these guys block at all? They didn't even have their best defensive lineman. Why can't they block? Because they had no toughness. Because the players are running a team. And because the gamer is just nice. And he's pleasant. And he's not a prick like Belichick to him, So they all like him. This guy's a joke, man. This organization's a joke, and that's what you get. Just like the Cleveland Browns, all right? What do they do? Flacco's way better than Deshaun, right? Oh, we can't have that. We can't have a quarterback competition. Let him go. So guess what? Now you beat out another athlete trying to play quarterback. Because you saw the game Sunday.
Yeah, Richardson got knocked goofy twice in 3 plays.
And this guy off the street is going up and down the field against who?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pretty good defense, huh?
Yeah.
Be careful letting the players run the team. That's what they coaches for a reason.
I
don't have to like them.
I don't disagree with any of that.
You have to respect.
But they got lousy quarterbacks too. I mean, when Tua goes down, you're in a bind if you got Skylar Thompson.
Tua's overrated to begin with.
Well, but he could at least move that team. Okay, he's better than the 2 that they got out there now.
I'll give him one thing. He might be, because he does get rid of the ball so damn quick. I mean, he's just unloading quick. Hundley overthrew Tyreek one time on a go route.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Yeah, he threw behind him and he overthrew him. The backwards pass plus he overthrew him. That's 2 massive mistakes.
So what are you in? You're in a field position game. Neither team could do anything on offense. And then you got. How about Will Levis's interception? What number was that guy?
I don't know.
90?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm used to Zaire Alexander intercepted him. I'm not used to 90, and he still got in the game. What happened to them? Well, he got out. They had an upgrade.
We got to go to break, but real quick, if Miami shipped 6 to Pittsburgh and Russell Wilson played down there, would it make a difference?
If they put Russell Wilson at Miami,
yeah,
I think Hundley's going to come around a little bit. But no, he can't do it with this offensive line right now. No. Russell Wilson's not good to begin with.
I think you're probably right. I think Russell Wilson's better than Tyler Huntley, but
well, he's more accomplished. But right now, which I don't know.
Might not matter. We're at Doe's Eat Place. Government
Yes,
Street.
Charlie, we're at Doe's Eat Place. We're overdue for a break, but I'll try and squeeze it in for our paid sponsor over here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street.
Well, we wouldn't be behind for a break if you hadn't complained about Miami's offensive line so much.
Their own doing, dude. You get what you get when you construct a flag football team. Hey, don't forget over here at Doe's Eat Place, we've got plenty of lunch specials that are not available on the dinner menu. You come to Doe's usually looking for a steak, but there are other options on at dinner time as well. Like we do the spicy tuna, we can do different broiled shrimp, or our starters, of course, the Delta hot tamales, a Doe's specialty over here. The angry shrimp are really good. Fried shrimp and fried oysters, as good as it gets. One of the little secret soup, one of the best tartar sauces around over here. We do a la carte vegetables, steaks, T-bones, fillets, ribeyes, or the porterhouse. And we do different fish as well over here at Doe's. Meat for lunch over here, specialty plates like the hamburger steak with either the fresh cut potatoes or the mashed potatoes, meatballs and spaghetti, a lot of different sandwiches where you can kind of create your own chicken sandwiches as well. Doe's Eat Place in the Crown Town room with 3 big screen TVs in the heart of Mid-City here on Government Street.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
You always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, the LouisianaSports.net. New Hannycast with film study with Richard Dixon on YouTube right now. Dropped a new episode last night. Major League Baseball today, we get 4 games. You watched the doubleheader yesterday? Or at least
yes.
the first game was really entertaining. The second game looked like one team wanted to get out of there. Had a plane to catch after they had won. The Mets and the Braves had to split yesterday.
That's the closest thing to point shaving as you can get in a baseball game.
The Mets come back winning the first game, put them in the playoffs. Atlanta needed the second game for them to get in the playoffs. They had to scratch Chris Sale because he was hurt. And the Mets needed to get on a plane to Milwaukee. If the Mets had won the game, the Diamondbacks would have got it in front of the Braves, but the Mets had very little motivation at that point. They
scratched Lindor. Alonso had to play. I forget who else had to play, but they scratched everybody that they could scratch. You got one of the most memorable sort of play-in games that you've had in a long time. With all the lead changes, 3-0 turns to 6-3, turns to 7-6, turns to 9-9. I mean, it was just a classic. And then you had this big just swinging. 8, 9 pitch. They made this journeyman look like Nolan Ryan, and that's not the case. They were not grinding at bats, to say the least. They were ready to get out of there. Not only that, Charlie, but do they want to play the second best record in baseball and maybe the best team in the National League? Most people think San Diego's better than Los Angeles right now, including me. Do you want to fly back to Milwaukee and play them?
Yeah, it's a shorter flight, too.
Shorter flight. Well, but also I think the much weaker team. Had Milwaukee been a longer flight, I think they would have taken that as well. But that was really bad in that second game. Just check the times of the games and see how bad they were grinding at bats in the first one and the second one.
Sure, the pressure was off of them.
No, it was not pressure. They were manipulating the game.
Yeah, they were ready to go.
This is where Major League Baseball gets, because instead of not playing them on Monday, the last Monday, when you had an open day, when you could see the storm coming, that's where you had. So you had a great game on the square. Okay, both teams were trying to win that. They didn't want to go to a last one, but neither team had any chance of losing that second game.
First game today, the Astros take on the Tigers in the likely American League Cy Young Award winner. Orioles-Royals is the second game. The Mets play at 4:30 against the Brewers, and the Braves, who are trying to decide on a pitcher, play the Padres in the 7:30 game. They don't think that Sale's going to be able to go today either.
I don't know Sale's. I think he might be done. His delivery, which is very violent, lends itself to injury, and that's why the team gave up on him. I mean, it gave him up. Did the Red Sox? Think Sale with the Red Sox? They've been in the playoffs. Hell yeah.
This has been the deal with Sale for, 7 years now. When he's playing and he's right and he's healthy, he's fantastic.
It's funny,
when he's not,
but he's lefty. You watch lefties like Tom Glavine and just so easy throw.
Yeah.
He's not. Nothing's easy about where he throws. So they got a break, and that's why I jumped on him very early because he looked healthy and he had a chance. And so at 800, he's going to win the Cy Young. But he finally caught up with him, this deep in the season.
Won the pitching Triple Crown and finally gave out at the end.
What Triple Crown?
Wins, ERA, and strikeouts.
He did not win strikeouts. I was a tough beat at the end, not to win.
I just read he won the
maybe in the National League, not overall.
That's what I mean, the National League. Yeah, the National League Triple Crown for pitching. And again,
there's a lot of people crying that they missed his last start, and it cost him the overall strikeout lead.
Yeah, it's National League. National League.
Who won the whole thing? But I know enough of my gambling friends are whining about it. So
Scuball had 3 more strikeouts than him.
There you go.
For overall, but yeah, he won the National League pitching Triple Crown.
Scuball and Fromber, man, it's a great game. Start off in Houston. They beat him earlier in the year in Houston, but he's been phenomenal and the hottest team going. You talk about the most established team in the American League, without a doubt. This group has won more playoff and championships than anybody else in the playoffs, period, much less the American League. And then you got this upstart, happy to be there, but dangerous team as well. And keep in mind, Alvarez, the big bopper for Houston, he is doubtful for tonight and questionable moving on.
And Scuball did win the American League Triple Crown, by the way. Sale got him by 100th of a point in ERA for the overall thing, and Scuball got him by 3
What did Sale finish ERA?
239.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 238. Scuball finished 239.
Yeah, so, and keep in mind that Paul Skeens had an under 2 ERA. Not as many innings, didn't qualify,
right.
But, I mean, is there anything that Skeens showed that he was going to tail off at any?
I think he could have gone more than 2 innings in the last game if he'd have needed to.
Yeah.
He's all right.
It kind of recaptured his stuff over the last handful of starts, too, where his velo was down a little bit. He got back in where he was getting filthy again.
I saw one pitch Saturday.
Was it great?
The only pitch I need to see.
I highly suggest. I think it was the end. Was it in the first or second inning?
Second, because he was walking off, and that was the end of his season after he.
I know, but I don't know. But
the pitch we're talking about.
The pitch had tailed. It started a foot on the outside, and tail back in or inside, and he was giggling off. Yeah. And he was giggling because it was that filthy. Yeah. He's not disrespectful, to the game or to his opponent. He just I don't even. That's how much his stuff was working. He could have been really, really tough.
I wouldn't have blamed him if in his head he's like, sometimes I amaze even myself. I throw that pitch.
Don't forget our friends over at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane between Perkins and I-10, right across the street from Ambrosia Bakery. Jason Payne over at K&M. Batteries, oil changes, tires, engine light comes on. You don't know what's going on? Bring it in. He's going to take a look at it, take care of it for you. He's going to give you an honest deal, and that's all we're asking for a mechanic for maintenance work on our vehicle. We're not trained mechanics. We don't know the extent of the work that our vehicles require. Case and Payne at K&M Automotive, open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Segan near Perkins, right across from Ambrosia.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Pierreport Store and the Thibodeau Store, your home improvement experts. What I mean by that, there's so many projects that you can do around your house yourself with just a little bit of guidance. I don't expect you to be a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician, but some of the little minor jobs that you don't know how to do them, talk to the experts at the Thibodeau Store, and they'll walk you through step by step. They're also going to make sure that when you're preparing for that job, buying supplies, you're not going to waste money on things that you don't need, and you're not going to waste time getting these projects done. So all of your hand tools, all of your power tools, plumbing supplies, electric supplies, lumber out of the Pierreport Store, available for delivery. Go to ThibodeauStore.com. Plus, for a little bit of fun, if you're going down fishing, tons of fishing gear, crawfish pots, jambalaya pots, a big selection of grills, including the big green egg cookers, all at the Thibodeau Store. You can arrange for the items to be picked up. If you need them in a hurry, you want to have them delivered, they can do that too, and they can work with your contractor. Go to ThibodeauStore.com. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, the Thibodeau Store.
Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Iskoe.
Out to Las Vegas, my buddy Andy Iskoe joins us right now. Andy, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, gearing up for the baseball playoffs, assessing what happened this past weekend in college and pro football, and getting set for next weekend with some more interesting matchups on tap.
Detroit and Houston started. Charlie, you getting word that maybe Alvarez,
Yeah,
may be in the lineup.
Looks like he's going to be in the lineup today.
Now, we've got a while before they hand in their lineups. Probably get it right before we go off the air, before 1 o'clock. But that might be some good news because he was doubtful. I didn't say he was out, but he was not expected to be available today. Tariq Skubal on the hill for Detroit against Framber Valdez. So this year's Cy Young against maybe the best pitcher and best team in baseball the last few years. Andy?
Yeah, really good matchups. In fact, I see that the total on this game in some places opened as low as 6, now up to 6.5 in a lot of places. And both pitchers, I guess, are capable of going 6-7 innings, so it depends upon the bullpen. I like Houston in this spot. I played them a little bit earlier, about -130. The line actually went up to, I think, as high as -145. It's come back down a little bit, I guess, because of the respect for Skubal. But I like the experience of Houston. Detroit hasn't been in this spot in a while. Playing at home, I think, is a good spot for Houston. Don't know that they'll sweep, but I would expect them to win this first game.
What about the other American League game? Cole Reagans, who's been very good but young, and he and pretty much none of these ball players. I guess Salvi Perez was on those teams that won the whole thing. Charlie, Salvi Perez, and that's about it. That's left over from that group.
15, I think it was.
Talking about your first baseman is Pasquantino. He's kind of a game-time decision. We'll see about that. He's been on the injury list against former Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burns, who doesn't have a whole lot of postseason experience as well. And Baltimore, who was so good last year, who lost 2 in a row at home to the Texas Rangers, who won the whole thing. Now they're back, but they have really struggled in September.
Yeah, they have, but I do like the fact that they were swept last year in the ALDS to give them a little bit of extra, I won't say motivation, because you're really motivated, maybe a little bit more focus, a little bit more intensity as far as paying attention to detail. And that's part of the reason why they got Corbin Burns as well to be the ace of the staff, and he's generally had a pretty good year, missed a little bit of time, was a little bit shaky at times, but again, I like the experience that this team has. Last year was the first time they'd been in the playoffs in quite some time, and, it showed. I don't think I expected it to show the way that it did, but I do think that experience last year has this team ready. Wouldn't be surprised if they win the first 2 games at home and then advance to the next series. I think the price is reasonable at under -150. So I do think I did play Baltimore a little earlier today, and I do think it's a good play.
Mets had all kinds of problems playing the Braves, especially in Atlanta, but they take care of one of the more memorable playoff games that we've seen in a while, and then an absolute tank job in game number 2. But they do save Severino, and he'll go today against Peralta. This is a return trip where they just ended the season on a 3-game trip. Were lifeless in Friday and Saturday before they won on Sunday, but the Mets in Game 2 sure look like they let everybody know they'd much rather be in Milwaukee than in San Diego today.
Yeah, maybe they had met some people over the weekend they want to visit. They knew they were just there. They're going to be in the same hotel and all that. But seriously, I like the over in this game. Severino has not been pitching well on the road. Peralta actually has struggled at home, I think, a little bit more than he has on the road. 7.5 is a reasonable total, especially because you wonder how much of the Mets bullpen will be ready. Diaz, I was surprised that the manager stayed with him as long as he did in that brutal bottom of the 8th inning, where they got bailed out by Lindor in the 9th. But I think 7.5 is a reasonable number to go over, especially the game starting just right before sunset.
And tonight's game, this seems to be the more lopsided matchup, especially with that it looks like Chris Sale may not be available for this for the rest of the way, going against what a lot of people think is the top team, even though, the Dodgers got the 1 seed and the Phillies number 2, and those teams are loaded, no doubt, but nobody playing as good as San Diego the last two and a half months.
Yeah, and they have some decent pitching. The Dodgers do not have the kind of pitching that we've usually come to expect out of the Dodgers. I mean, really, is there a true ace on that team? There's some pitchers that have had good years, but, you look at Dylan Cease, you look at Musgrove has pitched very nicely. Michael King, going tonight, came over from the Yankees, where he got an opportunity the last couple of years to have a spot role as a starter after being mostly in the bullpen. He's pitched very well for them. He's very, very consistent this year for the Padres, and, of course, Tatis and Machado and Jackson Merrill, the rookie who might very well be Rookie of the Year, although we'll see what happens with Skeens. If he doesn't get the Cy Young Award, he might get that Rookie of the Year. But nonetheless, I do like the San Diego team. I've seen them around 9-1, 10-1 to win the World Series. I would say that's not necessarily a bad play when I look at their pitching compared to the rest. And, of course, Atlanta, I think I saw the Padres like minus 185, minus 190 in this series. Now, the Braves have not yet named a starter, still showing up as undecided, so maybe they're waiting for the very last moment to see if Sal can make it, even if he can give him 2 or 3 innings to get off to a lead. That's the one game today that I'm not playing.
Yeah, I like the Padres in this one, so we'll see about what we have there. We are getting some confirmation, even though we're a little under 2 hours away from first pitch in Minute Maid. But Yordan Alvarez is confirmed in the lineup and in as DH, so he will DH today for the Astros. Pretty big. I was in the building, was it a year or two ago when Seattle, he hit the walk-off 3-run homer in the bottom of the ninth. So was it a grand slam against Seattle? Now, they went on to win in 3, but that would have certainly changed that series. They went on to clinch in that 18-inning game in Seattle to win in 3. All right, Andy, anything in college football that you're looking at this week?
Well, I'm looking at the rematch of the national championship game between Michigan and Washington. 2 totally different teams, 2 new coaches. I've liked the way that Washington has played because they've really lost a lot of talent after last season. They've already opened Big Ten play. They had the win over Northwestern a couple of weeks ago. They're laying, last I saw the line was about 2.5.
It's 2.5.
I've not been impressed with Michigan. Even when they showed some offense last week against a woebegone Minnesota team, they had trouble closing that game out, and Minnesota made a nice little rally in that comeback. So I don't know if things are all right with Michigan. I don't know if the coaching hire was the proper one. Washington certainly seems to have made a nice coaching hire, and I think it's not a revenge game. It's 2 different teams. I just think Washington's the better football team, and they're laying a reasonable number.
How long can Michigan win without throwing for triple-digit passing yards? 32 yards passing in the win against USC, 86 yards passing against Minnesota, and they got a gift call. You think the most controversial call was Miami and Virginia Tech on Friday night. How about onside kick, but they called it, and Minnesota recovered. Call for offsides. They were not offsides. A classic made-up call to preserve the Michigan win.
I'm also looking at Mississippi to bounce back at South Carolina. They're laying, I think, 9 the last time I saw. That was a weird game, but look, we saw what Kentucky did against Georgia. They nearly won that one, so Kentucky can have its moments, especially defensively. I think Mississippi bounces back nicely. There's, you get one loss, especially in the SEC, and it's a conference game. You're not out of the national playoff chase. I mean, look, Georgia is not going to lose any prestige because of the loss. In fact, they may actually have garnered a little bit additional respect the way they came back and could have given up in a game that was so one-sided. So I think Mississippi bounces back this week. I think Dart has a good game, and I think Mississippi is back in the conversation for at least creeping its way back up the polls. So it's going to be very tough in the SEC. They're going to start eliminating each other, but that might not come until November.
Pete Thamel reporting that after missing one game, South Carolina starting quarterback Lenora Sellers, who was just destroying LSU, was knocked out, was a major factor in the outcome of that game. Will reportedly be back for South Carolina Ole Miss. And keep in mind that Ole Miss now, it just gets tougher for them. After losing to Kentucky, well, they are on the road against a team coming off a bye. 2 straight weeks in Columbia, South Carolina, and right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So those byes are pretty important. To kind of note, Georgia, Alabama took one of their byes before their matchup in Tuscaloosa last Saturday.
I usually look for byes to be more important as we get into early November. I mean, we've only played 4 or 5 straight weeks, or 4 out of 5 weeks at this point. The players are still in good shape. It wears down on you as you start getting into like games 8, 9, and 10.
It was a physical game too, so they it'll be interesting. South Carolina with that quarterback, they're pretty tough to deal with, man. And so we will see. And it's not a given that he's going to play at that level that he was against LSU. We'll see. But all of a sudden, this Ole Miss path to the playoff is going to be challenging, and probably going from a probable to a doubtful status as far as their playoff life concerned. And who knows if Lane's peeking around for other jobs. We'll see.
I'll tell you one of the most interesting games this week in the SEC, Missouri at Texas A&M.
Yep, only game involving 2 ranked teams, and certainly looks like Elko is more familiar with his roster than he was in that Notre Dame opener, including at quarterback. Andy, thank you, buddy.
Missouri's coming off a bye, so they'll be well prepared even though they're on the road. I'm looking forward to that game.
Thank you, Andy. We'll talk to you on Sunday for Football
Thanks,
Sunday.
Jimmy. Take care.
All right, don't forget our friends over at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow, including their newest branch at Burbank and Bluebonnet. At United Community Bank, your business is our business. With the right relationship with your bank, with United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. A great team of bankers: Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, and David Henry. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Gonzaga's heading to the Pac-12. They announced that this morning. Talk about getting to the party after all the food and beer are gone. They go into a Pac-12 that I don't know is a hell of a lot better basketball-wise than what they're leaving. San Diego State is in that league. San Diego State is very good right now. It's not like they've got a huge, long history, but they're very good right now. Other than that, you got Fresno State, Washington State, Oregon State, Utah State, Colorado State, Boise State, and Gonzaga. Now the Pac-12's got to add a football playing member to get them right. Is this good for Gonzaga? I mean, the banner's still there, but like I said, your powers, your UCLA's, your Stanfords, your Arizonas, they're out the door.
American, man. When the American lost all those teams in the Big 12, it went from, they used to have like on the little yard markers, Power 6.
Right.
Remember that?
They wanted to
be. But they were clearly the best, and I think in some years maybe better than an ACC or a Pac-12 or maybe not a Big 12, but I mean they were better. And man, when it basically turned into Conference USA, no. So I mean, it's a name only. It's not. And this is why some of the big boys, like the Big Ten, the 2 biggest boys, the Big Ten and the SEC, are trying to secure more automatic spots. At the.
More on that in the next segment. We're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second.
So it just. No, you're not fooling anybody, man.
It's more. It looks like the Big West on with
the Mountain West.
The Mountain West. It looks like the Mountain West with a really nice banner headline. It's
Mountain West's heyday when they had Boise and TCU that could have played with anybody in the country.
A couple of years, yeah, where they were.
They went to Rose Bowl when they played each other in the Fiesta Bowl.
Kind of like the Big East when they had Miami and Virginia Tech and not a lot else.
Yeah.
Hour number 2 from Doe's coming up. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Like I become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And welcome you back here to Doe's Eat Place, live at lunch right here on Government Street in Mid-City. All right, first class, second class, no class. Let's start first class, Jimmy. If the Heisman Trophy voting were today, I believe that Jalen Milroe would win. But if the Heisman Trophy voting were today and I had a vote, I think I would vote for Travis Hunter at Colorado. I've seen 3 of their games now, and the one I didn't see was the one Saturday, where his presence was definitely felt against Central Florida. 9 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown, 2 tackles, 1 pass defense, 1 interception. And this kid is, when Deion brought him to Colorado last year, in that very first game when they upset TCU, and I think Hunter played 130 snaps or something like that, what do we say? Okay, this isn't sustainable. They can't play him 100, triple-digit snaps every game. Except that a year and a month later, they're still playing him 100-plus snaps a game, and his production doesn't seem to have tailed off any. And he's not just making plays; he's making big plays. I mean, he forces the fumble at the goal line, to preserve their win against. Help me out! Was it Baylor?
Baylor,
yeah, Baylor.
He got the kid. The guy's got to hold on to the ball, though.
Well, I get it, but how many wide receivers are making hits like that to cause fumbles at the goal line?
No, there's nobody like him.
Yeah, he's a freak. And Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy as a two-way player, but he didn't play full-time on offense. He was a spot player on offense. I can't.
Champ Bailey played more snaps than him, but maybe 8 to 10 a year? Per game?
Yeah.
Per game.
There were
caught a touchdown in Baton Rouge.
Oh, when Quincy Carter couldn't miss. Yeah, that game in '98, I believe it was.
LSU was number 6 in the country.
They were, and that was the beginning of the end for Jared.
That was the high point for Denardo.
Yeah, I've just never seen in the modern era, anyway, somebody play this many snaps for this long and still continue to have. Look, if you play two ways for another school, to have this kind of impact. If we're and I understand why Milroe's out in the front, and a quarterback will probably win it, but man, this kid.
Well, Milroe had the stage, and he performed. Sure. I mean, we usually worry about these Heisman, moments, later in the year. Where's your stage? Where's Woodson, against Ohio State when he not only had a great duel with David Boston, who was a great player in college pros too, but he also had the punt return for a touchdown. He had the couple of touches, I think one for a touchdown. So that was his stage. And so Milroe's that's the game of the year. There's no doubt.
Sure. And this is not meant to disparage Milroe.
Who was better than Milroe on that stage? The thing is, Hunter has they got a lot of eyeballs in their games, but they're not likely to play for anything. But you can't deny his individual. He's as special as we've ever seen. Even altitude can't get to him, man.
No.
I mean, he just and he's. I think a corner can impact a game more than a wide receiver can at the NFL because there's a big drop off. Tyreek Hill didn't forget how to, but they got no protection right now. So how's he going to be able to get deep and get any? So I mean, he's kind of just. He is minimal the impact he can make on his game. A guy like Surtain is taking the top receiver, and in 4 games they've got he's given up 85 yards total to guys like Wilson and Evans and some really good ones. Metcalf. and it's keeping them where they're 2-2, and Bo Nix is a struggle to say the least. But damn, his hands are so damn good. His hands are elite. His ball skills, but Stingley had great ball skills and is still playing on the defensive side. He's got to play both. He's got to play both.
I still find myself.
You can't play every snap in the NFL.
No.
So which one is he going to be? Every down player.
I don't know, but Max asked a question. After the show, we were talking off the air. He says, if you got the first pick next year, if you're Carolina, what do you do? And out of all the or if somebody else gets the first pick, maybe it's Jacksonville who doesn't need a quarterback. Who do you take? You like Milroe? You like Ewers? You like Carson Beck? You like Shadur Sanders? I'm gonna take Travis Hunter and I'm gonna figure it out because I'm gonna get a great football player. The quarterbacks, maybe not. I'm going to take this guy because this guy's going to be great.
Do we know if any of those quarterbacks are going to be that good?
No, we don't.
I know he's going to be good.
Yes, that's my point.
No,
exactly.
He's as safe as you can get.
And I'll figure out what side of the ball I want to play him on whenever my coaches get in there. But I'm going to give you this phenomenal once in a whatever athlete.
We on the same page, Charlie.
Well, that happens once a week or so.
No, we on the same page.
What
quarterback would you take?
You're going to laugh, but I still like Beck a little bit better than Ewers and Sanders. I think he's a better athlete than he's given credit for. I thought he showed a lot of toughness the other night in that environment coming back. I've got no physical concerns about him. I just like him a little bit better than the other two.
He had some drops in that game too.
Yeah, and
early in the game, he had some drops. Oh, he made a couple bad passes too, but man, he threw for 440 and it could have been 500 easily.
Yeah, I've got him a little bit ahead of the other two right now.
All that Lamborghini and Shador with his daddy ball, that doesn't. I mean, there's a little bit of a.
Oh, Shador would concern me. I don't have any questions about his talent. I do have a question about how much of an influence Deion wants here, because I don't expect Deion to be at Colorado all that long. So I don't. The same thing with Zion. Listen, I need you. I don't need Dad. Same thing with Lonzo Ball. I need you. I don't need Dad. For Deion, I say I want Shador. I think he's a starting NFL quarterback, and I think he can be really good. I don't need you. Okay, and that's hard to make that.
Beck doesn't need a Lamborghini.
He doesn't need a Lamborghini. None of them need a Lamborghini.
Come on, man.
No, none
really?
of them need a
Enjoy college a little bit, dude.
Quinn Ewers didn't need to take $100,000 to go spend 15 minutes
at Ohio State. He's got one too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm talking about 2 years ago when he went and spent 15 minutes at Ohio State at $50,000 a day.
All those guys, I can tell you, I can find a path where they won't be good. Yeah. I don't know. They might all be really good, but I can find a path where I can't find a path where Travis Hunter's going to be not going to be good.
But you know what else you can't find? You can't find any great college player that's not getting a Lamborghini or whatever.
Well, have you seen his house in Boulder?
I'm sure it's really nice.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Surprised it's not in Vail.
I'm
surprised they don't helicopter him in for the
I'm going to not
practice.
be too concerned. I mean, but no, Travis Hunter is it's like an NFL player's house already.
A couple of other first class. The top-rated quarterback in the country is not any of the guys we just talked about, but it is Blake Horvath. You know who he plays quarterback for?
Middies.
The Navy. Of course, he doesn't have enough attempts to qualify for the ratings title at this point, but
he's about 18 yards in attempt.
13.
Oh, that's it?
13.
Okay.
They've thrown the ball 44 times in 4 games. This is at Navy now.
That's more than they usually do.
A lot more. They're averaging 159 yards a game through the air. And Horvath has done what Navy quarterbacks usually do on the ground. He's averaging almost 10 yards a carry. And it was unbelievable to see. We were watching Navy and UAB. It's right before the half. Navy's got the ball in their own territory, around with a 30-yard line, 30, maybe the 35-yard
25.
25-yard line.
Yep.
With 30-something seconds to go.
Less than 30.
Yeah, you're going to run the clock out, right?
Yes.
Not this Navy. Nope. They're going to wind up, they're going to throw it deep. They got a receiver behind the secondary. They score a touchdown. They're fun to watch. I said this Saturday. I still believe this, that Navy is the toughest team left on Notre Dame's schedule, and that includes USC. I think Navy's got a great shot to beat the Irish. I really do. And Horvath is something to watch. He gets first class this week. 11 attempts, 159 yards per game. That's what he's averaging. And then
They threw it more than you think last year because they were so bad. They threw it 16 times a game last year.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. But I think a lot of that was because they were so bad and they were, they were in catch-up mode, desperate mode.
They're still a top 5. They're scoring as many points a game as Alabama through 4 games.
Say Navy is Navy. Is there any team that's better than we thought going into the year?
A lot better than we thought.
No, they're way better. Horvath last year. Horvath threw. He was 6 for 12 last year.
Yeah, I would
threw 2 TDs.
Yeah, I would say the biggest surprise team through the first month is BYU. I didn't have them at 5-0. You can argue about how strong the 5-0 is. But
I think Navy can beat BYU.
I think I wouldn't argue that. But if you're asking me about surprise teams, BYU would probably be at the top of my list.
I didn't have the exact passing numbers. You brought them to my attention after the Memphis game, but I saw them go up and down the field, and I saw them go up and down the field. And then Trent Dilfer also. Come on, man. That's fine. Navy threw a 75-yard pass in the last 30 seconds. What kind of defensive alignment? If you're not in prevent when the other team's at the 25 with 30 seconds to go, when are you going to get in prevent?
They would show Navy no respect there.
Them throwing the ball this year is not a surprise. You got film on them.
Now you do.
You saw them go. Memphis might finish 11-1. They went up and down. How many yards they have against Memphis? 600?
It was over 600. They scored 56 points that day.
Yeah.
They routed them. Also, first class, this call, this one will go when they do your end-of-the-year stuff and big plays. Mark Stoops, 4th and 7 from your own 20. 2 timeouts left, trailing by 4. 3:51 on the clock. And not only do you go for it, you had played an uber-conservative game plan. You'd run it almost 50 times, even though you're only getting 2 yards a carry. You soaked the life out of the clock. You made Ole Miss into a desperate team, but you had to dial up one play. You dialed up one play. And Vandegrift, throws his 63-yard rainbow that gets him down into scoring position and for the winning points. If you're in the Kentucky coaches' offices, putting a game plan together. What do we want to do? Want to hold the ball the whole game, give ourselves a chance to win in the fourth quarter, and then we got to make one big play, and they make one big play. Gutsy call, great execution. Give it to Kentucky, give it to Stoops and Vandegrift in Kentucky on that call.
Vandegrift is tough. Yep, the game plan is smart. And we thought that Stoops was kind of losing it a little bit. And if you don't hit that play, do you? Just so result oriented. The quarterback could have easily overthrown him. It just not work. Okay. You also got a favorable bounce on the loose ball at the end zone when it goes right into your tight end's hands, and he goes the extra 2 or 3 more yards for the game winning score. You also had the kicker miss badly on their attempt there, but. You put him in position, and you got to take one shot. Even to where Lane Kiffin, they got to take a shot at some time, Lane. So don't be totally surprised at that point.
Yeah,
it's getting deep into the game. But man, they were. I was still shocked at the result. I'm like, and then Ole Miss hit a long one, man. On 4th and 7 or whatever it was.
If I wouldn't have been watching the game and you'd have said, "What do you expect Kentucky to do in this position?" I would have said punt 10 out of 10 times. I would have expected them to punt, and they didn't. First class, second class, no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Try the new Paw Ball.
I did.
You did. Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah,
so good. A lot of times when you could boil this rice, it's got like this residue and it's kind of milky. Man, it's a clean rice. It's a big, firm rice. It is the reason why a lot of the restaurants in town use this parboiled rice. It is really, really easy. It is good. I made a big old Ziploc and put it in the freezer for when I do my Mondays and red beans and rice. So have my red beans and rice with my leftover chicken tenders from the Queen, Charlie. Threw those in there in the air fryer. So you talk about good stuff. But that parboiled, it's not even – that's my favorite Supreme rice now, man. It is unbelievable. It was so good.
Supreme Rice, part of the Climate Smart program, ensuring future generations of Louisiana farmers enjoy the benefits that they have. They're ensuring water conservation and reducing methane emissions. For more information, buy it wherever you buy rice, Supreme Rice. For more information, great recipes, go to supremerice.com. Back with second class and no class here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Too hot in the stadium. Yes, indeed. Doe's Eat Place over here in the Crown Town room. Big test screen TVs to watch all the game. We got the audio piped into the TV, too, so you can enjoy the audio and listen to it as well. Man, my buddy Jay Hover, we did some shows over there at Beauvoir Park, and, man, he's got his Federalis Fest going on this Saturday. This Saturday, 11 to 11, again at the Live Oak at Cedar Lodge. That's right off of Jefferson. Unbelievable venue, man. Really cool. And, I was been going to some shows recently, Charlie, and saw some that have kind of passed their prime and some in their prime. Jay does an excellent job of scouting out talent and catching these people on the upswing. Whitey Morgan in the 78s, Dragon Smoke, Taylor Honeycutt, Daniel Donato's Cosmic Country, Southside Roosters, Lovecraft Band, Biscuits and Gravy, and plenty more. This Saturday, 11 to 11. You got you go to bontontickets.com, bontontickets.com, Bontemps, if you get the dragon from. But anyway, great environment, great venue, great lineup, cool stuff. And you got general admission tickets available, VIP tickets available. So kids under 16 are free, excluding the VIP experience. So this Saturday, man, the bye week, man, go check out Federalis Fest. It's back for another year. It was a big hit last year and just bigger and better this year. Federalis Fest this Saturday at the Oak. I get this wrong all the time. I know exactly where it's been. Live Oak at Cedar Lodge, right off of Jefferson.
Second class, good with a chance to be great. This fits the category so much this week. Next week in Nashville, the Big Ten and the SEC are having a meeting. This means that Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, and Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, are actually going to be in a room together. At some point, they'll have their aides in there with them, and at some point, they're expected to talk just one-on-one. And the topic is scheduling. This is the college football equivalent of the meeting at Yalta. This is something that may finally move us towards eliminating, probably not ever all, but at least a good chunk of these games that we absolutely hate, the bye games, the schedule games. What they want is 4 guaranteed berths into the college football playoff for each of these 2 leagues. The first thing that the Big Ten wants before they move with that is for the SEC to go to 9 games. The SEC wants to go to 9 games as well. They just got to get ESPN off the dime. Having the Big Ten apply some pressure might help there. They also want to talk about potentially now eliminating the committee from putting the college football playoff teams in there. The 2 big heavyweights are finally saying, we're going to play by our rules, and the rest of you can come along if you like. If you don't, we're going to do this without you. Now, the details have to be worked out. They have to get to 9 conference games, and then they can talk about a partnership where I'm hoping that these 2 leagues will play against each other more than they have. But the crux of it is that this could dramatically improve scheduling, and shape the playoff after this year and next year. They got 2 years left on the contract at 12 teams, almost certainly going to 14 teams, and what it will look like. Jimmy, this is right in your wheelhouse. Nothing you hate more, nothing you complain about
Hallelujah.
than the rent-a-win games. And like I said, I don't think they'll ever be completely eliminated, but this would go a long way towards eliminating a lot of them. So I'm hopeful. It's wonderful that they're getting together. I hope they get something accomplished.
We're doing a podcast today, and I'm like, I forget who it was. I forget. It might have been Rutgers. It might have been Nebraska. I don't know. I said, "Well, they're 4-0, 3-0, 3-0 against the spread, huh?" He goes, "No, they didn't cover against Howard." I said, "No, no. When you have 50-point spreads, okay, it's BS that covers this. It's rarely why we have opinions on it. The coach wants to, if James Franklin, he wants to run it up, well, then, he's going to try. It doesn't help anybody to run it up on them, on teams like that, complete him. And look, the haves and have-nots, it's just separating. NIL is separating. So wait, you got all the facilities, and now you not only have the nicest facilities, the best staff, and the best competition to train and prepare me and make me visible for the NFL, but now I got money too. It's incredible. Thank the Lord for this. I mean, so overdue. I'm not crazy about us, the SEC, jumping in with the Big Ten because they're inferior. I mean, just they are, okay? And they don't care about college football in those areas. But they got those big markets and areas. They're always going to have money with that Big Ten network and being in those big markets. It's also have big enrollments too. So they got a lot of alumni base. Minnesota with their 55,000 enrollment, places like that, all through, the Big Ten. But hey, if it reduces, just cut in half. Just progress towards this. Yes, indeed. I'm all about that. I mean, it's so bad to look at and see those rent-a-wins, man, all riddled through the lineup. There's no doubt.
We'll deal with
part of it. So they got SEC's got to play a ninth game, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Like the Big Ten does, a ninth conference game.
Correct.
Yeah,
and the SEC,
and you said you've been waiting because you've been waiting on the TV to get their stuff together before they make that move.
They don't have a guarantee in the contract with ESPN that if they increase the inventory, that they will increase the revenue. The ACC was actually smart enough to put that in the contract. We add teams, you add revenue. The SEC didn't do that, so they actually have to ask, hey, if we put a ninth game into this schedule, how much more money are you going to give us? And for the moment, ESPN's saying, well, none, but that's not going to hold. So they get that ninth game in there, and then you get to one or two games against another power conference, and if it's a Big Ten, great. And we hold the rent-a-win games to one a year. We deal with preseason football in the NFL. I'll deal with one, but I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful because the first week of the season, I'll watch anybody. By the third week of the season, I'm tired watching you play, Howard or whoever you were talking about there a second ago. I don't need to see three of those games. I really don't want to see one, but I'll deal with one.
I'll tell you this. I mean,
I got to sit through the previews before I watch the movie, but keep them to a reasonable length.
When LSU plays Grambling or something, I'm not watching. That's not on my TV. Sorry.
I know.
I don't have to do a post-game show.
I understand.
I do it. I'll just tell you, put you on Sunday. Tell me what happened. I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
I do not care what you did against Hare. I don't. I mean, are we supposed to feel great about, Southern and, through the bands? Okay, have a band show. The bands can play on Friday night. I don't have to see the SWAC and the SEC square off. That's so dumb.
They should not. All right, no class. You and I both watched Virginia Tech and Miami on Friday night. We both know the rule now. We both watched the play. We both watched the review and review and review and review. And the more I watched it, the more I thought about it, the more if you got to Jimmy, how many football games do we watch? As many as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many times do you see this rule where a guy is out of bounds, touching the ball, and so they're going to whistle the play dead? I can't remember a game where I saw that. I felt like I felt when LSU was playing A&M and Kellen Mond has his hand on top of the football, not under the football, not on the side of the football, not two hands on the football, has his hand on top of the football, which is on the ground, and he has a knee on the ground. And so they rule him down, okay, which that has never, ever been how it is ruled. But that's how it was ruled in that game, and so the interception was negated, and they had to keep playing, and Texas A&M won the game. We watched Ronnie Prude get called for leveraging on a call that was made one other time in the history of college football.
And then they got rid of the rule, huh?
And then they got rid of the rule. If you got to dig so far into the rule book that people that watch football for a living don't know the rule or haven't seen the rule applied,
right,
to reverse a game winning and a significant game, a really significant game, you got to do that, then I'm sorry. The rule is BS. The application of the rule is BS. I was flabbergasted that they overturned the call on the field given what they had to work with. Now, if they had ruled it incomplete, if they had a clear vision that, he bobbled a ball or whatever, that's fine. But you're going to tell me that you're going to call that on the field.
Who's they?
The officials. They're calling it on the field.
No. Who's reviewing it?
The officials at the ACC headquarters in Charlotte, I guess.
Follow the money.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And if somebody got in somebody's ear and said, "Make sure Miami wins," the hell with them. Okay.
No. But you got two of these, and if you got to look at it that long, it's not conclusive.
Correct.
Okay, and you just got to stay with the call on the field. Okay.
This is not the Zapruder
I
film
needed
that we're
Miami
watching.
to close out a money line parlay. Okay. I didn't think there was any way Detroit Tigers going to lose to Chicago White Sox with something on the line. And I didn't see any way with nothing Virginia Tech showed. Virginia Tech was supposed to be good. They got housed at Vandy, and then they lost at home to Rutgers. Rutgers is fine, okay? Loved them. We went total over, my favorite one, but still, that's a bad loss at home in Blacksburg. You can't lose to Rutgers at home in Blacksburg. Not this year's team with Shiano. They're pretty good, but this was, Charlie, this is a flailing league, and this was a league, and they issued a release. And they released, and they found the rule. And they found a rule, and they dug deep.
Took them about 6 minutes.
Yes, they dug deep, and they technicality, and they did it. So, wait, how can that rule is so bad? So, wait a minute. I'm trying to make a catch, but if that guy, I can't control if the defender is out of bounds and touching the ball. That makes it dead. That should not make it dead. No. If I'm in bounds, he's out of bounds, and he touches it. I mean, that's nonsense. So they found a technicality. They used it. They preserved their one of two hopes that they have, because that's all they have is two. It's them at Clemson. Mm-hmm. That's all they have, and they saved their resume. That's a damaging loss. They've got no good wins. They've got no good wins, and they probably aren't going to have any good wins. I mean, what's their biggest win? South Florida? What's their biggest win?
Their biggest win at the end of the season would be the ACC championship game. If
Clemson
gets there at
So you get one in, you get your automatic, and that's it. But, I mean, they preserved. It was Michigan, Minnesota. Michigan ain't going to the playoff. Probably not, okay? But Michigan still carries a bigger stick than Minnesota.
Yep.
How can you make up an infraction that doesn't exist? I understand it's the only thing to be anticipated them trying to get a head start, but it's not there. How do you make that? Well, guess what? No review on that one. By the way, it was clean. They got the ball and they're about to go beat Michigan, or they got a shot to beat Michigan. But no, I could not believe I'm sitting there over. Now I'm looking over and over. I'm like, I got no shot. No, it's just done. I could not believe they overturned that call.
Hated the call, and I had no skin in the game. I had over in the game, so I had won. So I'm just watching at that point to see who wins, and I just absolutely hated that call. An honorable mention to Bo Nix for managing to, and I guess Sean Payton with the assist, for managing to complete 7 passes and a half of NFL football for -7 yards. I didn't think that was possible. 7 completions for -7 yards. I mean, you get one bad play, right? You get one completion, you get a screen blown up or something like that. 7 completions for -7 yards. It's really hard to do.
Jaden Daniels is having a better year as a rookie than Bo Nix?
Just a touch. He's having a better year than Josh Allen.
I don't. Statistically, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
He is.
Oh my goodness! He's fun to watch, man.
It's fun, very fun.
Down to 25-1 for MVP. This is a Paul Skeens deal all over.
33-1.
It's going to be hard, and if it's on the square, a guy like Josh Allen or somebody else is going to win. But man, if they fall off, I mean, and can you create leverage? Well, the leverage chances, we got down to 185-1 and stuff like that. 25-1, it's out the win. It's still 25-1, but I don't see how teams are going to stop him.
He's 33-1 at Bet Rivers right now.
I don't see how other teams. What are you going to do? You're going to rush him and let him and leave McLaren? Man. I mean McLaurin. I mean you're going to. I don't see. He's such a running threat. But there's nobody that can run like him, that can throw like him for them. Yes, Allen, but he's seventh year in the league.
Yeah.
There's no young, really athletic quarterback who is as settled and comfortable in the pocket as him. He's the dream quarterback.
Just slide, young man.
He did it.
He did.
He did it this week.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
Keep
doing it.
Every week.
Our friends over at Relief Windows at reliefwindows.com. Why choose wooden windows? Well, one, it's a look that lasts. Wood windows offer timeless style and generally regarded as the most aesthetically pleasing of all wood window materials. Okay, they look really good. But in our South Louisiana extreme heat and weather conditions, they're hard to preserve. But that's why we got the gelled windows. Again, these wooden windows combine the beauty of real wood with high-tech energy efficiency features for all climate zones, especially these South Louisiana extreme heat weather conditions. Built by using Arlast wood, gelled windows come with a 20-year general warranty and a lifetime limited warranty against rot and termites, providing you years of beauty and minimal maintenance. Added efficiency, wood frame windows, gel windows, great natural insulation. Pair that with the quality of durability of gel winds Arlast wood, and you won't need to worry about replacing your windows again for a very long time. I wish I had these windows at the original construction of my home. This indeed, we guarantee you complete satisfaction for years to come and provide the highest quality service and craftsmanship around. Call to come to have them come up and give you an evaluation of your situation. 230-5652 or reliefwindows.com. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Yesterday was a tough day in sports. We lost Dikembe Mutombo, which we knew during the show. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. And then last night, the death of Pete Rose was announced. Eduardo Perez, whose father Tony, the Hall of Famer, played with Rose in the Big Red Machine. Rose was 83 years old. Jimmy, we could do, 5, 10, 15 shows about Pete Rose. I can remember when, we were first breaking into this. When we get into summertime discussions, Rose had just been banned from baseball, a handful of years earlier.
Should or you shouldn't.
Yeah, we did a ton of those shows back in the 90s. But he's an indelible part of baseball history. Major league record for games played, plate appearances, and, of course, the all-time hits leader, MVP, 17-time All-Star. By now you've heard his resume. And still the debate rages on if he should get in the Hall now posthumously. I was listening to the guys on VSiN last night, Paulie Howard and that group, and they said that he should be in the Hall, but that if he went into the Hall, if he were inducted into the Hall this year, the next available eligibility, that it would sort of be insulting. Like baseball had waited to wait for him to die to put him in the Hall. That he should go in maybe in a year or so. But if they did it in the first one, and I thought that was an interesting take. I hadn't maybe considered that. I did always think that he would probably end up getting in after his death, but that if he went in on the first ballot after he died, that it would be like baseball's final, just stick it to him for lying all those years. Okay, we'll put you in, but not until you're gone. And I never really thought of it like that before they said that last night. It was an interesting take.
Without the comment, how would you take it? I mean, it's kind of. Oh, now I mean it's
now you're gonna put him in
just
when he's not.
there's no win now. I mean, it just but then the other side of the argument, they're like, dude, just admit it. Just admit it and let's move on, and then we'll put you in.
Yeah, I'm not 100% Rose's side because he did lie for so long, and
he never quit lying.
He did in 2004. He finally came clean in the book.
Oh, he did. I'm sorry.
He finally came clean. Yeah, and he did an interview. He said, "Yeah, I did." He said, but I felt like after I said that I didn't, I had to stay with it. In other words, I had to keep pushing the story.
He's not the only one.
You can't tell a story of baseball without including Pete Rose, but you have to tell the whole story. You have to tell the whole story. And the argument I get all the time that I dismiss out of hand is that, look, there's some other lousy people in the Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb was a lousy person. There were other people that were not great human beings. Gambling, without admitting it, the reason it's such a strong part of the bylaws of baseball is it almost destroyed the sport in 1919 with the Black Sox scandal, and they had to make sure that Kennesaw Mountain Landis, absolutely this cannot happen, because if the public ever decides that the games aren't on the level, then we don't have a game. And that's why it's more detrimental to the sport than an individual's drug use. I'm sorry, it just is. If Rose had come clean a lot earlier, I think he'd long since have been in the Hall. And I still think he deserves to be in the Hall, but you have to tell the whole story. Next to 42-56 has got to be was banned from baseball for a period of time for gambling on the sport. You got to tell the whole story.
And he didn't. The worst. There's different. Okay, I'm gambling on on NFL games or something like that. Okay, I'm gambling on my own games. I'm gambling against my own team.
Which he never copped to that. He said he never bet against them.
Well, that's why I'm going to different levels. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. That's the worst. He didn't do it. So just admit it. And that's okay. Could he have overused his bullpen and compromised them for, a little bit, burned them up a little bit too much on that specific game that again? Maybe so. But there's nothing like betting against your own team. There's nothing like being involved with your own team, taking a dive. And he didn't do that. But he wouldn't admit it. He's too damn hard-headed. We dealt with him. You don't think he was hard-headed?
Absolutely. We met him one time. He's
a
very abrasive man.
Now,
you understand baseball action as well as anybody. If you are betting on a team and you bet on a team 162 games and you bet on them 130, 140, pick a number, a big number, but not 162. Are you not, and you're betting with the same people, are you not sort of tipping your hand? You're not betting against your team, but if you bet on them 130 times, but you don't bet them on the other 32 times, don't you know that day your pitcher's not, your bullpen's compromised, or your starting third baseman's out or something like that? Isn't that a tell?
It's much worse what the Alabama coach did last year.
Yeah, that is much worse.
He gave information
no argument
against
there.
his own team.
Correct.
He knew that his ace was not going to throw. That is, so it's against your own team. That's way worse. And not that they took a dive. They played hard.
They just knew that they didn't have their guy.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't do the worst thing, and he just couldn't help himself. And it was just, it's hard to admonish something when the guy just won't. Just won't. I don't know, man. He was tough. Now, I did the human side of it when Eduardo Perez got really shook up when he was delivering the message. I think it's Jay Williams is the Sports Center host. It was him and Hannah Storm.
Yeah.
And he said, Jay, hold on. I just talked to my dad, and he got caught up. He said, Pete Rose passed away today.
Yeah.
This and that. He goes, okay. Kind of caught him by surprise. But, His dad was on the Big Red Machine, Tony Perez, for our younger listeners, Tony Perez. And it's something about that teammate, that locker room.
Yeah.
And this is the guy's son who knew what kind of respect and just the teammate. Forget the other stuff. Man, this guy was playing hard. This guy was playing to win. Ain't nobody trying like him. No, he was never compromised the game. It's just if it would have been so much easier if he would have said, I never bet on my game. I still know it's wrong. And I lied before. I'm sorry. I felt like I did it. Just but don't insult the whole situation now. No, he's in now. He's dead. That's cheesy, man. But look, I don't know if they're going to put him in at some point. Okay? They're going to make the move to do it. This year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. It's coming. How does his family, how do they respond to it then? Do they say, we don't accept?
I have no idea how to answer that question. I have no idea how they feel. That's a great question. His son
you said they were in Nashville this weekend.
Sunday. They took Tony Perez, Dave Concepcion, Ken Griffey Sr., George Foster, and Pete Rose.
With that dark brown bat.
Yeah,
pin bombs.
The five of them. They took a picture. Those are the
guys.
Rose actually looked pretty
Griffey
good.
Was there to Senior?
Ken Griffey Sr. was there. Yeah, and they were signing autographs and taking pictures at this. I think it was a card show.
Everybody but Bench.
It wasn't the whole team. Bench was Joe Morgan has passed, of course.
Right.
Cesar Geronimo wasn't there, but there were 5 or 6 of them that were there from the Big Red Machine. And the picture, you look at Pete, and you wouldn't have saw it. You wouldn't have thought anything. He didn't look sick.
Wow.
Obviously, he was.
See, 1986. I'm in Riverfront. Will Clark was a rookie. I saw him go 5 for 5.
Really?
Yeah, in Riverfront. Yeah. Made a little Chicago, St. Louis, Cincinnati trip. On the way back, saw him go 5. Pete Rose go 5 for 5.
Got the hit that passed Cobb off of Eric Winplace and Shaw. One of Berman's better. The late Eric Shaw. One of his better nicknames.
All right, I told you, man. That Parboiled rice at Supreme Rice, man. It's available now in all the Baton Rouge area grocery stores. I always wondered why I couldn't get my rice to get like that restaurant quality. Well, I didn't have the right rice. This is the good stuff, man. It is a big, thick. It's just firm, clean. Restaurant quality rice, man. It's the Supreme Rice, parboiled rice. Available in all your Baton Rouge area grocery stores. Get it, man. It is really, really good.
Live at Doe's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, the Braves took the guesswork out of this for us. Not only is Chris Sale not going to pitch today, he's not going to pitch in the Wild Card Series at all. The Braves left him off of the roster. His velocity down, has not pitched since September the 19th, said he wouldn't be available until at least the Division Series. Jimmy's going to be hard for them to get there without him, and you don't know if he would be right when they did. But he will not pitch for the Braves in this series against San Diego. So now you know.
Yeah, man.
We don't have to guess about this for this series.
No, but I mean he'd been out for 11, 12 days, man, and they needed every game they could, so they could have used him. They could have used him in his normal start last week and avoided a little stress because I mean he's a clear winner of the Cy Young. And the only thing will be a battle for second. I mean, Wheeler and Skeens might be a little bit closer than you think. I still think Wheeler's going to get it, but that will be the only question mark of the National League Cy Young Award winning. He was phenomenal this year. I mean, and just lost the strikeout because he missed his last start this year.
Yordan Alvarez is on the Houston Astros roster. He is in the lineup today. He is DH in Justin Verlander, who had an ERA of about 9.5, a little over 9 in September, is not on the Astros postseason wild card roster. Thanks to everybody for participating. Tomorrow we're at Los Reyes Mexican Grill, Wesley at Nicholson. For Jimmy Ott and for Jordan Kitchens back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon from Doe's. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.